Welcome to Talk with Alex and Sophia. I am your host, Alex, and joining me is Sophia.
It's so incredibly good to be sitting across from you today, especially for a session of this magnitude.
Yeah.
We have a really vital agenda ahead of us.
We absolutely do. And to you listening right now, wherever you are in the world, we are so glad you've tuned in. We've been on quite a remarkable journey together throughout this travel series.
Yeah, we really have.
If you think back to the ground we've covered over the last few sessions, we've really focused on, well, the magic of exploring the world.
The fun stuff.
Exactly. The sunlit, joyful moments. We've walked you through the exact phrasing you need for breezing through airport customs.
Right.
The language for checking into a luxurious hotel. The vocabulary for haggling at a local market. And those casual questions you use to ask a local for directions to a hidden cafe.
Yeah, the truly enjoyable parts of being abroad.
But today we're looking at the script for what's labeled EP07. And this represents a massive pivot in our curriculum.
It really does.
We are stepping out of the sunlight for a moment. Today, we're tackling what we call savior knowledge. We're diving deep into emergency English.
Savior knowledge is really the perfect way to frame it. The source text we're analyzing today is actually quite brief. I mean, it's a very streamlined outline, but it contains the most critical linguistic tools you could possibly acquire.
The tools you hope you never use.
Exactly. Think about it this way. When you pack for a trip abroad, you carefully select your clothing. You pack your adapters, your toothbrush, maybe a guidebook. But you absolutely must pack this specific language. And you just pack it where it's instantly accessible in your mind.
Readily available.
Right. The sole mission of our deep dive today is to equip you with the exact, precise English phrases required to survive and successfully summon help during travel emergencies.
And before we get into the actual mechanics of the language, let's set the tone here. We hope you never, ever need to use a single one of the phrases we are going to practice today. Our wish is for your travels to be nothing but smooth, safe, and joyful. However, being prepared is the ultimate foundation for traveling with genuine peace of mind.
It really is. It changes how you experience the trip.
Knowing that you have these specific words locked away in your muscle memory means you can actually relax. You can enjoy your trip because you know deep down you are linguistically protected.
The psychological comfort of simply knowing how to ask for help, it really cannot be overstated. We need to talk about what happens to the human brain in an unfamiliar environment when things go wrong.
It's a very real physical reaction.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you are in a foreign country, navigating a culture that isn't yours and speaking a language that is not your mother tongue, the sudden onset of a crisis triggers a massive physiological response. Panic sets in. Cortisol floods your system.
The fight or flight response.
Exactly that. And when that acute stress hits, the higher level cognitive functions like translating complex thoughts into a second language, they often just freeze.
They shut down entirely.
The vocabulary you thought you had mastered suddenly vanishes. Your brain desperately tries to revert to your native language because it feels safe.
I've experienced that exact freeze. You know the words, but the adrenaline just builds this wall between your thoughts and your mouth. So how do we get around that biological response?
Rote muscle memory. That is the key. That's why we're taking this at a highly deliberate, beginner-friendly pace today. We are focusing intensely on the physical mechanics of speaking.
Not just reading off a page.
No, not at all. We aren't just going to read these words to you. We are going to build your vocal muscle memory so that if panic does strike, your mouth knows how to form the shapes of these words without your conscious brain having to work so hard.
That makes total sense. We want these phrases to be automatic reflexes. Now, I want to explicitly state that today's topic deals with serious, inherently stressful scenarios.
It's heavy material.
It is. But this audio space right here between the three of us is your safe harbor. You don't need to feel rushed, and you don't need to feel overwhelmed. I'll be calmly guiding us through the vocabulary, acting as your steady anchor. And my incredible colleague here is going to demonstrate how to actually deploy these phrases using a vocal technique we call controlled urgency.
Controlled urgency is an absolute necessity in a crisis.
Tell us a bit about how that works.
Well, when a real emergency strikes, you simply can't whisper calmly. People won't realize you're actually in trouble. But you also cannot scream incoherently.
Right, because then they can't understand you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People will see you're in trouble, but they won't be able to understand your English to help you. So you have to strike a very delicate balance. You need the listener to feel the severity of the situation. That's the urgency part. But you also need them to understand every single consonant and vowel perfectly, and that's the control.
Urgency and control.
Yes. As we go through our role-play segments today, I'm going to model exactly what that specific tone of voice sounds like. I'll push emotion into the volume without sacrificing any articulation.
It's a tricky balance to strike, but we're going to break it down completely. So wherever you're listening, just take a deep breath. Let's transition away from the carefree joy of sightseeing, and let's step into our first scenario.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine the sunlit streets fading away for a moment as we look at the sudden nightmare of losing your most important items.
I really want you to genuinely put yourself in this headspace for a second. Visualize yourself walking down a beautiful, bustling avenue in a city you've always wanted to visit.
You're taking photos, you're relaxed.
Maybe you're thinking about where to get lunch. You casually reach into your pocket, or you reach down to feel your crossbody bag just to check on your vital belongings, and suddenly there's nothing there, just empty fabric.
Oh, just hearing you describe it gives me that terrible sinking feeling in my stomach. The heart just drops right into your shoes.
It is a completely universal human experience. That sudden, cold dread of losing something that proves who you are or holds your financial lifeline. Your hands start to move faster. You check your other pocket,
You frantically unzip your bag again.
but it's gone.
Yeah.
This is the exact moment where the panic we talked about tries to hijack your brain. And this is the moment where the specific English vocabulary we are about to analyze must step in to save you.
The source material focuses intensely on the two absolute worst things you could possibly lose while traveling internationally. Let's focus our attention on these two critical English words right now.
Foundational words.
Right. The first word is your international identification. The second word is the status of a stolen item. I want to emphasize these incredibly slowly. The two words are passport and stolen.
Let's hold those words in the air for a second and really examine the phonetic architecture of them.
Because they have to be perfectly clear.
Absolutely. If you're speaking to an official, a police officer, or a transit authority, these specific sounds must pierce through whatever background noise is happening. Let's start with the word for your identification, passport.
It sounds so simple to native speakers, but under stress, pronunciation gets sloppy. Let's look at the mechanics. Passport.
Exactly. Let's break down the syllables and the physical mouth movements required. The first syllable is pass. Notice the plosive nature of that P sound.
Plosive meaning it pushes air.
Yes. You have to press your lips together firmly and let a soft explosion of air push them apart. Puh. The vowel is a short A, and then you hit the double S. For that S sound, your teeth need to be nearly closed, creating a sharp hiss. Pass.
I can feel the tension in my jaw when I enunciate that so sound clearly. Pass.
Right. And then you immediately transition into the second syllable, which begins with another explosive P port. You push the R out again, round your lips for the OR, and finish with a crisp T by tapping your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. Court. When you put them together, the stress falls heavily on the first syllable. Passport.
I'm going to say that slowly, and if you're listening, try mirroring the shape of my mouth right now. Notice the bursts of air. Passport. Passport.
Now let's analyze the second critical word, which describes a crime. Stolen.
That's a heavy word.
It is a heavy, dramatic word in the English language. It means someone has intentionally taken your property. The syllables are stolen.
The beginning of that word is what linguists call a consonant cluster. It's an S and a T blended seamlessly together.
That cluster requires real agility. Your teeth are close together for the hissing S, and instantly, without a vowel between them, your tongue strikes the roof of your mouth for the T, saint. Then you open into a long, resonant O sound. Stow. The second syllable is softer, almost falling away. Lynn. Stolen.
Let's put that together with gravity. Stolen. Stolen. If you say these two words, passport and stolen, clearly to any English speaker, you bypass all small talk.
Yes, instantly.
They will instantly understand the severity of your predicament.
Now that we have the core vocabulary locked in, let's examine the action plan provided in the text. If you experience this nightmare, the text gives you a very clear directive. You must find a police officer, or you must navigate to a police station.
Let's look at the first phrase the text provides for when you finally step up to the desk at the police station. The phrase is, "I've lost my passport."
I want to dive deep into the grammatical structure of this specific sentence because the authors of this text made a very intentional choice here. The sentence uses I've, which is the contraction for I have lost. In English grammar, this is the present perfect tense.
I always wondered why ESL textbooks emphasize this over the simple past tense.
It's a common question.
Why don't we just walk up to the police officer and say, I lost my passport?
It's a brilliant nuance of the language.
Yeah.
If you use the simple past tense and say, I lost my passport, it sounds like a completed historical event. It sounds like a story that is over and done with. You might say, I lost my passport back in 2018, but I got a new one. The simple past disconnects the action for the present moment.
Ah, I see. But when you use the present perfect I have lost, you are drawing a direct line from the past action right into the present emergency.
Exactly. You are communicating that the loss happened at some unknown point in the recent past. But the terrible, urgent result of that loss is happening right now, standing in front of this desk. It connects the past trauma to your current need for help.
It makes it an active problem for the officer to solve.
Furthermore, notice the ownership in the sentence. I have lost. You are taking responsibility for the fact that the item is missing. You don't know where it is. You simply know that you no longer possess it. You aren't accusing anyone.
That's a fascinating psychological framing. You are the subject of the sentence, owning the loss, but the text immediately contrasts this with the second phrase it provides, and the grammar flips completely.
It really does. The second phrase provided is, my wallet was stolen.
Let's just listen to the rhythm of that. My wallet was stolen. There is no I in that sentence at all.
Right. We are witnessing a dramatic shift in the structural mechanics of the English language here. The text specifically moves away from the active voice and employs the passive voice. My wallet was stolen. We aren't saying, a thief stole my wallet or someone stole my wallet.
Why is the passive voice so critical in this specific scenario?
Because of the psychological reality of the crime. You use the passive voice when an action occurred, but the perpetrator of that action is completely unknown or irrelevant to the immediate message.
You don't know who the pickpocket was.
Exactly. If you knew who did it, you would use the active voice, point your finger and shout, that man in the red shirt stole my wallet.
That makes perfect sense. By using the passive voice, the focus, the grammatical subject of the sentence, becomes the wallet itself. The action of being stolen happened to the wallet.
It removes the burden from you.
Right. It completely removes the pressure on you, the victim, to identify a suspect right out of the gate while instantly communicating to the officer that a malicious crime has occurred against your property.
It's incredibly efficient language. Let's juxtapose those two sentences, feeling the difference in the grammar. First, the present perfect for an item you misplaced. I've lost my passport.
And second, the passive voice for a crime committed by an unknown person. My wallet was stolen.
Hearing the analysis behind it really cements it in the mind.
Now, let's shift our focus to a scenario that is slightly less malicious, but honestly equally stressful. It's covered right here in the text. Let's call this the forgetful traveler scenario.
Oh, we have all been there.
We really have.
It's the fatigue of travel. You've been walking museums all day. You're exhausted. You're carrying too many things. You get on a city bus, set your bag down on the seat next to you, and close your eyes for just a minute.
Just a quick rest.
Right. Your stop arrives. You quickly stand up. The doors open. You step out. The doors close. The bus drives away. And suddenly, the realization hits you like a physical blow. Your bag is left on that seat. No one robbed you. You simply forgot it.
In this highly specific situation, the text directs you to a very particular location within the transit system. I want to clearly emphasize this destination. You must navigate to the lost and found.
Let's hold that phrase and look at it closely. Lost and found.
For anyone learning English, I always love pointing out the incredibly literal, almost poetic nature of this naming convention. It's such a beautifully simple concept.
It really is quite direct.
It's an office dedicated to two opposing actions. It's the designated place for things that have been lost by you, the traveler, and found by a kind stranger or an employee.
It brings those two opposite past participle verbs together into one bureaucratic safe haven. Let's look at the pronunciation because the final consonants are crucial. Start with lost.
Lost.
You really need to articulate that T at the end so it doesn't sound like loss. Loss, happened T, now found. Your tongue needs to hit the roof of your mouth to create that hard D sound. Found.
Found.
When you string them together smoothly, it becomes a single title, Lost and Found.
When you finally locate that office, the text provides a fantastic, highly detailed sentence to initiate your search. The phrase is, did anyone turn in a black backpack?
There is so much vital linguistic instruction packed into this single question. Let's dissect it. First, look at the phrasal verb turn in. When you ask, did anyone turn in, you're asking if someone found your item and officially surrendered it to the authority behind the desk.
It's a specific action of handing something over.
Yes, but the real genius of this sentence from the source text is the ending, a black backpack. The authors are teaching a fundamental rule of emergency communication, the absolute necessity of being highly specific.
You cannot walk up to a busy transit desk and just say, did anyone turn in a bag?
Exactly. A major central train station might process hundreds of forgotten bags every single week. If you say a bag, the clerk has absolutely nothing to go on. The text is modeling the use of descriptive adjectives to immediately narrow down the search parameters.
It uses two specific descriptors. The first is color black. The second is item type backpack. If your item was different, you would substitute those exact slots. Did anyone turn in a red suitcase? Or did anyone turn in a brown purse?
By providing color and type immediately, you help the staff help you faster.
Let's practice the phonetic clarity of those descriptors because they have sharp edges. The word black ends with a hard K sound. Black.
And the word backpack is wonderful because it has two syllables, and both of them require strong, percussive mouth movements. The P's and the K's. Backpack.
Backpack.
Put it together, visualizing the item, a black backpack.
I think it's time we put all of this theoretical analysis into practice with our first extended role play segment. We're going to demonstrate how these structures sound in the real world.
All righty.
I will act as the calm professional desk clerk first at the police station, and then I'll play the attendant at the lost and found. My colleague will take on the role of the traveler in distress, utilizing that crucial technique we discussed earlier.
Controlled urgency. Right. As I perform this, listen to how I'm acting. I am projecting panic through my breathing and my pacing, but I am forcing the consonants of the target words out with absolute clarity so the clerk can understand me without asking me to repeat myself.
We're going to run this twice. First, we'll run it at conversational speed with some natural back and forth dialogue so you can hear how it flows in reality. Then we'll strip it down, analyze the delivery, and run the core phrases again slowly so you can focus on the rhythm.
Sounds good.
Let's begin with the nightmare scenario at the police station. Run number 1, conversational speed.
Excuse me. Please, I need help. I've lost my passport, and my wallet was stolen. I don't know what to do.
Okay, please try to breathe. I'm so sorry that happened to you, but you were in the right place. We will take an official report right now. Let me get some paperwork. You said your wallet was stolen.
My wallet was stolen.
Let's step out of the role play and analyze that exchange. It's stressful even just pretending.
It gets the heart rate going.
But did you hear the vocal pacing? There was heavy breathing to indicate distress, but when it came time to deliver the crucial information, the words lost, passport, wallet, and stolen were pronounced with pinpoint accuracy.
Notice how I didn't let the emotions swallow the consonants. I didn't mumble. I pushed the words out.
Now we are going to run the traveler's core lines again. This time, I'm going to repeat the phrases back to you at an absolute crawl. If you're listening, use the space when I'm speaking to practice saying the traveler's lines out loud yourself. Focus on the grammatical shifts we discussed. Here we go.
Excuse me, I need help.
I hear the urgency there. Excuse me, I need help. Now the present perfect.
I've lost my passport.
Look at the ownership. I've lost my passport. Now the passive voice shift.
And my wallet was stolen.
The wallet becomes the subject. My wallet was stolen. If you're practicing along, you are actively building the muscle memory required to survive that bureaucratic nightmare. Let's switch gears and role-play the forgetful traveler at the lost and found. Run number 1. Conversational speed.
Hello. I just got off the number 4 bus. I left my bag on the bus. Did anyone turn in a black backpack?
Oh, no, I know how frustrating that is. Let me check the back room for you. Just to confirm, you said a black backpack.
Yes, exactly. A black backpack.
No, this slightly different emotional tone here. It's less about reporting a malicious crime and more about conveying urgent, desperate hope. But again, look at the descriptors. They were punched so clearly in the dialogue. Black backpack.
The clarity of the adjectives is what gets the clerk moving toward the back room.
Let's do the slow motion analysis. Listen to the pacing of the syllables.
Hello, I left my bag on the bus.
Establishing the location of the mistake. I left my bag on the bus. Now, the highly specific question.
Did anyone turn in a black backpack?
The phrasal verb and the adjectives. Did anyone turn in a black backpack? Excellent work navigating the loss of your property.
It takes practice, but it's very empowering.
It is. But as highly stressful as lost passports and missing bags are, there are situations that demand an entirely different level of urgency. We are now transitioning into the most critical part of our source text. Let's look at medical emergencies when your actual health fails abroad.
Losing a wallet is a massive nightmare of logistics, phone calls, and bureaucracy. But physical health and bodily safety that operates on a completely different plane of seriousness. I want you to visualize feeling intensely sick, or perhaps sustaining a severe physical injury in a country where you don't know a soul.
It's the ultimate vulnerability. You don't know how their medical system operates. You don't know the local clinics, and your body is actively failing you. This is the absolute peak test of your emergency English.
It is.
Thankfully, the source text gives us very precise directions on locating help. It separates medical issues into two primary destinations.
It's a very important distinction to make. The first destination the text provides is the pharmacy. The second, for much more severe cases, is the hospital.
Let's slow down and ensure the phonetic mechanics of these two locations are completely mastered. Let's look at pharmacy first. 3 syllables. Pharma-C. Look at the spelling. It starts with a P and an H, but in English, that combination blends together to make a soft F sound. Far.
The middle syllable is a soft M, and the final syllable uses a C that sounds like an S. Pharmacy. Pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
This is the destination you seek out for non-life-threatening ailments.
Yeah.
You have a fever, a bad cough, a minor cut, or an upset stomach from the local cuisine. But if the situation escalates, if it's a severe injury, a broken bone, or a terrifying sudden illness, you must bypass the pharmacy and seek out the hospital.
Let's analyze the pronunciation of hospital. It also has 3 syllables. Hospital. The crucial element here is the strong aspirated H at the very beginning. In some languages, the H is silent, but in English, you must push air up from your diaphragm and out of your throat. H-H-O-L-S.
The middle syllable is a quick pi. The end is a soft tal. H-H-O-S, pi-tal. Hospital.
Now, whether you walk through the doors of a pharmacy or stagger into a hospital emergency room, you must be able to communicate your state of being instantly to the triage staff. The text gives us the foundational English phrase for this. I need to see a doctor.
I really want to spend a moment on the specific verb choice in that sentence. I need to see a doctor. In everyday, casual English, we so often rely on the word want.
Yeah, I want to order a coffee.
I want to visit that museum. I want to sit by the window. But in a medical crisis, the text explicitly avoids want. Why is that distinction so important?
It's a matter of severity and cultural psychology. Want implies a preference or a desire. It sounds optional. If you tell a busy triage nurse, I want a doctor, it almost sounds like you're ordering off a menu.
Exactly.
But the word need implies absolute, non-negotiable necessity. It signals to the listener that this isn't a casual request. Your physical survival depends on it.
It's fascinating how one word changes the entire temperature of the interaction. By asserting I need, you are cutting through any cultural instincts you might have to be overly polite or deferential. You are demanding attention respectfully, but firmly. I need to see a doctor.
Directness saves lives. Now, let's look at the next phrase provided in our medical text. This is, without exaggeration, perhaps one of the most vital sentences we will analyze today. The phrase is, I'm allergic to aspirin.
Just feeling the weight of that sentence. I'm allergic to aspirin. We need to spend significant time on the structural core of this sentence, the word allergic.
Think about the reality of a severe medical crisis. If you are receiving emergency treatment, especially if you are confused, in intense pain, or slipping out of consciousness, the medical staff's first instinct will be to administer medication to stabilize you or manage your pain.
It's their protocol.
If your unique biology has a severe, negative, potentially fatal reaction to certain medicines, you must be able to express this intolerance before they push anything into your IV line.
Failing to communicate that can literally turn a bad accident into a fatal error. The word is your protective shield. Allergic. Let's look at the phonetics of it so you can say it flawlessly under pressure. It has 3 distinct syllables. Al-jic.
The vocal stress falls heavily on the middle syllable. L-U-R-jic. Let's break that down. The first syllable is a very soft, almost swallowed sound.
The middle syllable is the powerhouse of the word. It has a rolling R sound deep in the mouth. L-U-R.
And the final syllable ends with a sharp, clicking K sound in the back of the throat, even though it's spelled with a C, jic. L-U-R-jic.
Let's hold that word in the air. Allergic. The text uses a common painkiller as the example, I'm allergic to aspirin, but the grammatical structure here is a formula.
It's customizable.
Yes. If you have any known medical intolerances, your homework is to learn the exact English translation for that specific substance and plug it into the end of this sentence. I'm allergic to penicillin, I'm allergic to latex, I'm allergic to peanuts.
It is the ultimate boundary-setting word for your body. Now, we have to address the most extreme, darkest scenario presented in the text. We are calling this the ultimate emergency. calling for help.
This is when things are critical.
There are terrifying times when you simply cannot walk to a pharmacy and you cannot hail a taxi to a hospital. You might be trapped, or you might be too severely injured to move. You must bring the medical infrastructure to your exact location.
For this scenario, there is one English noun that reigns supreme. I'm going to emphasize this word slowly and clearly. The word is ambulance.
Just listen to the gravity of that word, ambulance.
Oh.
We're going to analyze it phonetically so that you can easily lock it into your memory and recall it even if you are in physical shock. It is 3 syllables. Ambulance.
Let's look at the mouth shapes. The first syllable is am. It sounds exactly like the verb am in the sentence I am. Your mouth opens for the A and closes for the humming am. Amau. The second syllable is unique. It sounds like the word bayou. Imagine the letter U, but you put a strong B sound right in front of it. Bayou.
Bayou.
The final syllable is sauced. Luns, ending in a gentle S sound. Luns.
Let's put the pieces back together, placing the heavy stress on the very first syllable. AM, bayou luns. Ambulance. This single word is the universal key to unlocking emergency medical transport in the English-speaking world.
But simply knowing the noun is only half of the survival equation. You have to know the logistical mechanism for summoning one through the local telephone network.
Knowing the word doesn't help if you can't reach the dispatcher.
Exactly. The text specifically discusses the emergency numbers provided for different global regions. This is a critical detail because dialing your home country's emergency number in a foreign city while panicking will cost you precious, irreplaceable time.
The source text highlights 2 specific numerical codes. If you are traveling anywhere within the United States, the number is 911-911. If your travels take you to the United Kingdom, the number shifts to 999.
You absolutely must understand these regional differences before you board your flight. We highly recommend writing the specific number down on a physical piece of paper or a card and keeping it in your pocket or passport holder.
Do not rely solely on your mobile phone's digital memory.
No, or your ability to Google it, because phones can shatter, batteries die, and cellular data can fail. When you dial that correct number and the dispatcher answers, you must deliver the next phrase from our text with absolute clarity.
The phrase is, "It's an emergency. Please send an ambulance."
Let's look at the structure and the punctuation of that. It's an emergency. Please send an ambulance.
Notice that the text specifically uses exclamation points here. This is where the concept of controlled urgency becomes your lifeline. You're shouting yes, but you're shouting clearly. You lead with the word emergency to instantly categorize the severity of the call for the operator.
It sets the priority.
Then you use the polite but firm command phrase, "Please send," followed immediately by our target noun, an ambulance.
But what happens in the seconds immediately following that sentence is perhaps the most crucial piece of advice contained in the entire source text. We call this the golden rule of emergencies. The text explicitly states, stay calm and tell them your location.
Let's really pause and analyze that instruction. Stay calm and tell them your location. It sounds simple, but it goes against human biology.
I want to dive deeply into the psychology of why this rule is written this way. Think about human instinct. When your body is severely injured, your brain becomes hyper-focused on the source of the pain. Your instinct, when someone answers the phone, is to talk about the trauma.
Right.
Your instinct is to look at your injury and describe it graphically to the operator. You want to scream, "My leg is broken," or "I'm bleeding everywhere."
You want them to know how much pain you're in so they understand the severity. But the text does not tell you to describe your injury first. It explicitly tells you to state your location. Why is location prioritized over medical details?
Because of the cold, hard logistics of emergency dispatch. If the dispatcher does not know where you are on the map, they literally cannot help you. Think of the worst-case scenario. If you spend 15 seconds screaming that you have a broken leg, and then the phone call drops or your battery dies before you tell them what street you're on, that ambulance is going to sit motionless in the hospital garage.
Wow.
They have the medical equipment, but they have nowhere to drive it.
That is such a chilling, vital piece of analysis. Location is supreme. Location is infinitely more important than the injury itself in the first 10 seconds of that phone call. You have to train your brain to fight the biological instinct to talk about the pain.
You have to force yourself to look away from the injury.
Look around at your environment, find a street sign, a building number, a famous monument, or a cross street. I am at the corner of Main Street and First Avenue. Please send an ambulance. Then, and only after that logistical puzzle is solved, do you explain what is wrong with your physical body.
Fighting human instinct with logic saves lives. Now we're going to move into our second extended role play segment. This scenario requires immense focus. I am going to act as the caller experiencing a sudden, terrifying medical crisis.
And I will be the dispatcher.
I will model using controlled urgency, fighting to keep the panic in my breathing from destroying the clarity of the English consonants. You will act as the calm, highly trained 911 or 999 dispatcher on the other end of the phone line.
This is a high-stakes scenario. We will run it at conversational speed first. Listen for the specific flow of information we just discussed.
Hello, it's an emergency. I need help immediately. I am at the central train station near the main entrance by the clock. Please send an ambulance.
I understand you. Try to breathe. You are at the central train station by the main entrance. I am dispatching an ambulance to that location right now. They are on the way. Can you tell me exactly what is happening to your body? Are you injured?
I am very sick. Can't breathe well. My throat is closing. And listen to me. I'm allergic to aspirin. Please hurry.
Let's stop the role play and analyze the anatomy of that exchange. It is genuinely intense to listen to, even knowing it's just a practice scenario. But did you notice the flow of data?
The sequence is everything.
The caller fought through the breathing issues to immediately provide the location, the central train station by the clock, before ever mentioning the throat problem.
And did you hear how the phrase allergic to aspirin was injected into the conversation while the ambulance was still driving there? That gives the dispatcher the ability to radio the paramedics en route, giving them advance warning about my medical intolerances before they even step out of the vehicle.
It's all about maximizing the logistical efficiency of your communication. Now, we are going to run the caller's lines again, slowly. I want to repeat the caller's phrases back to you, feeling the weight of the syllables. If you're listening, imagine the stress, but focus on the mechanical clarity of the words.
It's an emergency.
The word emergency sets the priority level. It's an emergency.
Please send an ambulance.
The polite command and the target noun. Please send an ambulance.
I am allergic to aspirin.
The medical shield. I am allergic to aspirin. Take a long, deep breath wherever you are listening. You did wonderfully. We have officially covered the heaviest, darkest, most terrifying scenarios in the source text.
Yes, that was the hardest part.
We have practiced the strict language of bodily survival. Now we are going to intentionally de-escalate the emotional tension as we move into part 3. Common problems and the magic sentence.
Yes, let out a long, slow exhale. It is so important to maintain perspective and remember that not every problem you face while traveling is a life or death, heart-pounding emergency. The vast majority of the time, the problems we encounter abroad are simply highly inconvenient, deeply annoying logistical hurdles.
They ruin your afternoon schedule, but they are not physically dangerous.
Exactly.
The text brilliantly shifts its tone right here, and so will we. We are going to look at vehicle issues and accommodation troubles. Let's start with the car troubles mentioned in the source material. If you decide to rent a car and drive through the countryside on your trip, the text provides 2 highly specific phrases you need to know when the machine fails you.
The first phrase to describe a vehicle failure is, my car has a flat tire.
Let's look at the vocabulary of that phrase closely. My car has a flat tire.
The key descriptors here are flat and tire. In English, the tire is the thick rubber wheel of the vehicle. When that rubber gets punctured by a nail and loses all its internal air pressure, it collapses and becomes completely flat against the asphalt. Hence, a flat tire.
Let's look at the phonetics.
Pronounce the crisp T at the end of flat clearly so it doesn't blur. Flat. And tire utilizes a long, drawn-out I sound followed by a soft RTIR. Flat tire.
That perfectly explains the mechanical failure. The second car trouble phrase addresses a fuel issue. I've run out of gas.
I want to analyze the specific English idiom used in this phrase. I've run out of gas.
The text employs a very common, highly useful English phrasal verb here, run out. For an English learner, this can be incredibly confusing if taken literally.
Oh, absolutely.
When you say run out, it obviously doesn't mean you are physically sprinting out of the car with your legs. In the English language, to run out of something means that you have completely exhausted your available supply of a resource, and there is absolutely zero left. Your fuel tank is completely empty.
Exactly. It's a figurative, resource-based expression. You can run out of gas, you can run out of money in your bank account, you can run out of time on a test, or run out of patience. In this specific scenario, saying I've run out of gas explains to a passerby exactly why your vehicle is immobilized on the side of the road without a scratch on it.
Now let's look at the embarrassing accommodation trouble mentioned in the text. It discusses the horrifying concept of being locked out of your room.
Oh, the sheer burning embarrassment of this specific scenario. You step out into the quiet hotel hallway just to grab some ice. The heavy, spring-loaded doors swing shut behind you. You hear that definitive metallic click of the lock engaging, and you suddenly realize your plastic room key is sitting on the nightstand inside.
The phrasing here is locked out. It is a very literal spatial description. The door is securely locked, and you are physically trapped on the outside of the space. You are locked out. Your only recourse is to do the walk of shame down to the reception desk, approach the staff, and admit your mistake.
But this raises a fascinating social dilemma. How do you approach a total stranger to ask for help with a flat tire on a country road, or an empty gas tank, or to beg a busy hotel clerk to let you back into your room?
It's intimidating.
This brings us to a truly profound psychological and linguistic concept introduced in the text, the power of politeness.
When you have a minor emergency, you are inherently in a position of vulnerability. You need a passerby, an absolute stranger with their own life and their own schedule, to stop what they are doing and assist you. The source text makes a beautiful, deeply optimistic assertion right here. It simply says, people are usually very kind if you ask politely.
I want us to really sit with the philosophy of that sentence for a moment. People are usually very kind if you ask politely. Such a hopeful view of human nature. And the beautiful thing about international travel is that this assertion is almost always proven true. People want to help.
Most people do.
But the key mechanism, the actual linguistic key required to unlock that latent human kindness, is structured politeness.
And to achieve that specific flavor of politeness, the text introduces what it literally calls the magic sentence. This is the absolute pinnacle of our linguistic lesson today. We are going to focus deeply, analytically, on the engineering of this one specific phrase.
The phrase is, excuse me, could you help me please?
Let's say it again, just feeling the rhythm of it. Excuse me, could you help me please?
I want to dissect exactly why the authors of the text refer to this as a magic sentence. It's obviously not magic because it casts a supernatural spell. It's magic because of how flawlessly it functions as a social lubricant in English-speaking cultures.
It's culturally engineered.
Yes, it is a perfectly engineered sequence of grammatical choices designed to break the ice, show immense respect, and completely disarm a stranger's defenses before you burden them with your specific mechanical problem.
Let's break down the engineering piece by piece. The first component is the opener. Excuse me, why do we initiate contact with this? Because you are actively interrupting someone's life. They are walking on the street, deep in thought, worrying about their own jobs or families. By saying, excuse me, you are preemptively apologizing for breaking their concentration. It is an incredibly humble, deferential approach.
It lowers their defensive walls immediately. Then comes the structural core of the question, could you help me? Notice the specific verb tense here. The text does not say, can you help me? Or will you help me? It specifically uses the word could. In English grammar, could functions as the conditional tense. It is by far the softest, most polite way to frame a request.
Why does could sound so much better to a native speaker than can or will?
Because of the psychological implications. Can you help me? Technically asks us about their physical ability to do so. Will you help me? It's aggressive. It sounds almost like a demand or an order, but could implies a condition. It implies that you fully recognize they have a choice in the matter.
It gives them an out.
Yes. You are not demanding their time. You are humbly inquiring if it is within their capacity and their willingness to assist you. It removes all aggression and pressure from the interaction.
It's amazing how shifting one vowel sound changes the entire power dynamic of the conversation. And then we reach the final piece of the magic, the word please. It is the ultimate bookend of respect. It seals the entire sentence with a stamp of graciousness.
Let's put the whole sequence back together, observing the psychological journey it takes the listener on. First, the interruption apology. Excuse me. Second, the polite, non-threatening conditional inquiry. Could you help me? Third, the bookend of pure respect. Please. Excuse me. Could you help me? Please.
We are going to practice the melody of this sentence right now. The goal here is not just to memorize the vocabulary, but to master the specific intonation required. When asking a polite question in English, the tone of your voice should rise slightly, almost musically, at the very end of the sentence to show that it is a gentle inquiry, not a command.
Listen carefully to the intonation curve of my voice, how it lifts at the end. Excuse me, could you help me, please?
I hear that gentle lift. Let's try it again, making the flow slightly smoother. Excuse me, could you help me, please?
One more time. injecting genuine warmth and humility into the vocal delivery. Excuse me, could you help me, please?
That sounds perfect. If you can master the delivery of that one single sentence, you can navigate almost any minor inconvenience or logistical hurdle anywhere in the English-speaking world. You have successfully acquired the savior knowledge.
It's a great feeling to have that locked in.
We have traversed a tremendous amount of crucial, heavy territory today. We are now moving into our outro to synthesize what we've learned.
It is time to consolidate the linguistic architecture we have built over this session. We are going to do a final, slow recap of the 3 vital locations we learned today. I want you to literally visualize these physical spaces in your mind as we review the vocabulary.
Imagine this scenario. If your personal property is stolen by a pickpocket, you find a police officer or you navigate directly to the plaque.
Police station.
If you realize you forgot your bag on a city bus or a transit train, you immediately search the station for the plaque.
Lost and found.
If you are severely physically injured or you cannot breathe and you need immediate emergency medical transport, you use your phone to call for and go.
Ambulance.
Those words are your 3 pillars of safety. The police station, the lost and found, the ambulance. As we close, we really want to reiterate the supportive, empowering tone we established at the very beginning of this deep dive.
We fully acknowledge that discussing lost passports, stolen wallets, severe medical allergies, and calling 911 is intense. It's not the fun part of travel planning. But this specific knowledge truly acts as an invisible shield. You might have started listening to this session feeling a bit uncertain or anxious about what you would actually do if a crisis occurred abroad. But you are walking away thoroughly, meticulously prepared.
You really are.
You have analyzed the phonetics of the most difficult words. You understand the grammatical shifts of the passive voice and the conditional tense, and you understand the psychology of using controlled urgency.
You can pack your bags and board your flight with genuine confidence. Now, as we wrap up our analysis, there is a mandatory homework assignment pulled directly from the source material. We expect every single person listening to participate in this exercise.
The text gives a direct, actionable command to the learner. It asks, do you know the emergency phone number in the country you want to visit?
We learned during our medical segment that the emergency code in the U.S. is 911 and the U.K. code is 999. But what about the specific destination you are dreaming of visiting next year? Your assignment is to research this logistical detail. Tell us the country you want to visit, and tell us the specific emergency number for that country in the comments section below.
The physical act of typing it out or writing it down will help lock that number into your long-term memory.
It's a tiny 2-minute piece of research that could, quite literally, make all the difference in the world when seconds count.
It's so worth doing.
Before we say goodbye, we want to leave you with a final, somewhat philosophical thought to mull over, building on the social dynamics we discussed today. I want you to ponder the deeper philosophy behind that magic sentence we practice so extensively. Excuse me, could you help me, please?
It's profound when you think about it. In our fast-paced, highly modernized world, we often strive to be entirely self-sufficient. We use our smartphones for digital maps. We use apps for real-time translations. We book our own train tickets online.
We try incredibly hard to avoid bothering other people.
We do. But a sudden emergency, even a minor one like a flat tire on a rented car, completely shatters that illusion of total technological independence. It forces us to put our phones away, look up at the physical world, and rely on the sudden, unscripted kindness of absolute strangers.
Consider how learning just one polite, perfectly structured phrase in a new language does so much more than solve a mechanical problem. It bridges a massive cultural and linguistic gap. When you approach someone respectfully, using their native language, and humbly ask for their assistance, you are engaging in a very profound human transaction. You are proving in real time that basic human empathy translates across all borders, all oceans, and all cultures. People are usually very kind. You just need to possess the right linguistic key to ask them.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. Stay safe out there in your travels. Remember to pack your emergency vocabulary right next to your passport, and keep practicing the mechanics of your English.
Thank you so much for joining us for this crucial deep dive. We will see you on the next journey.